All right. Looks like a very enlightened and insightful person, a Democrat. Lance, Fort Worth, Texas, the great WBAP. Go.
Hey, Mark, how you doing today?
All right, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to call and ask you something. What administration was in when the Great Depression occurred in the last century?
That would be under Hoover.
Herbert Hoover, yes. And what administration was
How long did it go on for, the Great Depression?
What's that?
How long did it go on for?
Well, it went on until, the 40s.
So it went on for like 8 years?
Yeah, it went on for the 40s.
So was Herbert Hoover president for 8 years?
No, he got kicked out of office because
he got
was so
kicked
bad.
out of office. And what programs did Herbert Hoover put in place to try and deal with the Depression?
Well, it was what?
Do you know he increased the income tax for upper level people from 23 to 63%? Did that work?
No, but it was FDR.
Hold on now, pal. I'm gonna get to FDR. You brought up Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover was a big liberal Republican, a businessman, a capitalist, as they say. And what he did is he also put in trade sanctions. Do you know what that did?
Well, I'm sure it was bad, yeah.
Yeah, it caused other countries that were also going through difficult economic times to cut us off. So our farmers couldn't ship any of their goods overseas, neither could our steel mills and our coal mines and all the rest of it. So he was a big government liberal Republican. Then it was handed off to an even bigger government, more liberal Democrat. And the Depression went on and on and on and on, right?
One thing that FDR did that we should do is they had massive public works projects. And that's
we do have massive public works projects. It's called the National Education Association. It's called the SEIU. It's called the AFSCME. It's called the federal government. It's called the state government. You think the world just began today? This crap's been going on for 100 years.
Well, of course it is. But
the federal government's taking 25% of everything the economy makes. Before the Depression, it was taking 3%. And your idea is more government program. Tell me, where do we get the money for all these work projects that you have in mind? Where does it come from?
Well, I guess we'd have to get the Treasury Department to print the money.
Print the money. So then we have trillions of more printed. Let me ask you something. Maybe we should go back a little bit and look at German history. You aware of the Weimar Republic?
Yes, of course.
You remember those old black and white films where people they're with wheelbarrows moving around paper money? You remember that?
Yeah, but what about the German economy today?
Why do you keep saying, yeah, but what about? Why don't you listen to me? The German economy today, they went through 2 world wars. They went through genocide. Are you familiar with Zimbabwe today?
Yes, of course.
Their currency's not worth a damn thing because that dictator, that communist dictator, he keeps printing money too.
Well,
now, you have money. Do you have retirement funds?
Do I have retirement funds?
Yes. Do you have a 401? Do you have an IRA? Do you have anything?
Well, no, not really. I'm just.
Well, guess what happens when you keep printing? Pal, quit playing Mr. Loser, okay? The fact of the matter is, when you keep printing money, everybody that has put away even a little nest egg, it becomes useless. It's worthless. You understand that?
Oh, yes, I do. But we have people that don't have jobs, that don't have work, and
we have people who don't have jobs because the government's too big and it's sucking the energy out of the private sector. Here's a public job. What about the Keystone Pipeline? Do you support that?
Well, yes, of course, if it's done correctly. I mean,
if it's done correctly, like they're going to spend all that money and do it incorrectly.
Well, we've got there's a big problem. As a matter of fact, a lot of conservatives aren't supporting the Keystone Pipeline down in Texas because they're afraid that they won't get the money back from their land. So even the conservatives down here.
I'm not worried about who's supporting it or who's not. That's a private project that the government of Canada wants to pay and be involved in and so forth. That would be superb. What about drilling in Anwar? That would create jobs. Do you support that?
Yeah, but I support more like high-speed rail and...
yeah, I figured you would. High-speed rail from where to where?
Well, let's have high-speed rail from...
Sir, you keep moving on me so fast, I'm getting dizzy. I asked you a question. High-speed rail from where to where?
from every major city to every major city.
Are you familiar with Amtrak? It sucks up billions of dollars every year, and you want to build Amtraks all over the place and call it high-speed rail? When are guys like you, Lance, going to learn that big government cannot work? It is destroying jobs in the private sector. If we don't have a healthy private sector, we have nothing.
Well, I just know this.
All right, thank you for your call. Every sentence I ended with, Mr. Producer, he comes back with well or but. You notice that? High-speed rail, it's the most expensive and most ludicrous proposition of them all. Because most people aren't going to use high-speed rail. It's just, the government's bigger than ever. We cannot afford what we have. Entitlements are spiraling out of control. We've had these phony, shovel-ready jobs. We've had trillion-dollar stimulus year after year because it's built into the baseline. Even the states are spending endlessly. Even the school districts, the towns, spending endlessly. And the guy has an idea. More public works, more public jobs. He's got high-speed rail in mind. He's got all. This is the utopian statism mindset. Run amok. Run amok. And everybody, your cousin, your uncle, your nephew, your mother, your father, your kids, everybody knows how to redesign the society. Have you noticed? Nobody ever talks about individual sovereignty. Get off your ass and work. Find a job. Make a job. Start a business. And fight to get the government off your back so you can achieve something and make something of yourself. Stop sitting back on your chair and redesigning our country. Because it's not going to work, and you're not going to get to do it anyway. The masterminds are doing it.